Muraho! I love to use what I call a storybook approach to introducing information literacy skills to young children. What do I mean by a storybook approach to information literacy? It has three basic elements. Number one, it builds on the familiar, the principle of introducing new learning by starting with the familiar, and in this case, beginning with the familiar world of children's storybooks to introduce them to information literacy skills. So that's the first element. Number two, it works toward the goal of information literacy by seamlessly bringing together three critically important areas: curriculum content, early literacy skills of reading and listening, writing and speaking, and specific information literacy skills. Let me give you an example. The Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle is often used in conjunction with a science unit. It might be a good way to start a unit on the life cycle of a butterfly. So that would be the content connection, the curriculum connection. Reading aloud encourages the early literacy skills of listening and reading. That would be the literacy connection. You can help teach prediction by using the cover of a storybook. You can say, "Look at the cover of this book. What can you predict about what the story might be about?" And now you might be thinking, how does the storybook approach relate to the third critical area, which is information literacy? The information literacy skills are introduced through the follow-up activities, like making a plan for where to search for information on caterpillars. The children have at least some prior knowledge by reading the book or having it read to them. And now they're really ready to dig deeper and discover more about the topic. So we've got two strengths so far: building on the familiar and bringing together the three critical areas of literacy, information literacy, and curriculum content. The third element of the storybook approach is that it's motivating and fun for students. Do you remember when Dr. Ruth Small introduced you to the ARCS model? You'll recall that motivating instruction gains and sustains attention, it's relevant to the learner, it builds or reinforces confidence, and it's satisfying. The storybook approach to information literacy is conducive to instruction that motivates. How about another example for using a storybook to teach information literacy? Here we go. I love the book Leaf Man by Lois Ehlert. It's beautifully illustrated, and children are fascinated by the illustrations, which are created using real leaves. Use this book to help students learn how to ask good questions. Where do the leaves go when the wind blows? Where can I find leaves like the ones in the book? What can I make with the leaves that I find? You will be helping your students recognize the need for information, which is an important information literacy skill. You will be helping them to learn to formulate questions based on information needs. And once they locate resources to help them answer their questions, they can design and develop and evaluate information products and solutions based on their own personal interests. It might be that students even want to write their own storybooks to share what they learned. So now we've covered all three strengths: building on the familiar, connecting with the curriculum, and motivating learning. When you do all of this, remember to be creative. Maybe you can sing a story, or maybe you can act out a story, or use puppets in storytelling. I often use puppets to tell a story. I just love using puppets. And remember to collaborate with other teachers as much as you can. We all know the importance of collaboration, of working together. So I'm going to share with you an example of collaboration that revolved around a storybook. It all started in an upstate New York elementary school with a book called Oliver K. Woodman by Darcy Patterson. It tells the story of a wooden man named Oliver who travels from South Carolina all the way across the United States to California. He travels all this way, almost 3,000 miles, through the kindness of strangers. The children at the school, they loved the book, and it sparked the idea on the part of one of the teachers and the librarian to design a school-wide event in which the school children made their own wooden man. Here he is. They decided to send their own wooden man from their school on his own journey, which would be from New York, where their school was located, to California. The staff, the librarian, all the classroom teachers, everyone collaborated. There were lots of curriculum connections. There was a connection for math. What's the math connection? Well, you see, they had to use measuring concepts as they were building their wooden man. And they also connected with language arts. For language arts, they wrote a prediction paper. That is, the children would predict what might happen to him on his journey from New York to California. By the way, he ended up having Thanksgiving in Scranton, Pennsylvania. They used their information literacy skills to find information about the states that their wooden man would pass through on the way to his destination. They even held a parade around the school just before sending him off. Look at this. Now it's your turn to think about how you can use stories and storybooks to help teach information literacy in the context of the curriculum. I hope you enjoy. Goodbye, everyone. Murakoze.